Hello, everyone. I see some participants joining us today, just filling up our room here. We're going to go ahead and give you a bit of time to get settled. And while we do that, we're going to get our slideshow set up. Great. Thank you so much for carving time out of your day to join. I see that number rising and growing. So we'll just give a few more seconds before we formally kick off. Always nice to see that number ticking up, isn't it, when you're a presenter? Right. Okay, well, folks can continue to join and get connected, I'm sure. I'm very happy to have folks jump into our session at any point today, but we want to be mindful of your time and give ample time to the content that our presenters have prepared today as well. So good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on where you're joining us from. My name is Allison Murray. I'm based on the east coast of Canada, so it is just the start of our day here, a beautiful blue sky, sunny day in my city of Halifax, Nova Scotia. And thank you so much for joining us for our Study in Canada session. On behalf of the Duolingo English Test team and our presenters, we are thrilled that you are interested in learning more about study opportunities in Canada. And I'm confident that today's session will give you great information to go forward and make some big decisions based on. Before we go any further, I just wanted to highlight that we do have a couple of other fantastic webinars coming up that you may want to have on your radar. So you might want to mark your calendars for June 10th and June 18th. We have the Big 10 and two-year colleges. So if you want to go ahead and grab those QR codes, if either of those catch your attention, that will take you directly to the registration information and share more details like the start time. I'll also be sharing these one more time at the end. So if your phone isn't handy or you can't catch the QR code right now, don't worry, keep an eye out before we wrap up at the end of today. So before we go too much further along, we'll take a moment to do some introductions. I'm going to walk you through a very quick overview of the Duolingo English test, and then also do a bit of stage setting about what you as an applicant can expect when you're looking at Study in Canada opportunities in 2025 and beyond. From there, we're going to pass it over to our great panelists. We have McGill University today, University of Alberta, and the University of Toronto. This is a real treat for us. As you probably know, these are some of Canada's top post-secondary institutions. So to have three of them on one webinar, you're really getting all the need to know information about opening up as many opportunities as possible for you as a learner at these great universities. They also represent a variety of destinations within Canada. So we'll be talking a little bit more about the geography of Canada, but we've got McGill University joining us from Montreal. The University of Toronto, as the name implies, is based in Toronto, Ontario, and the University of Alberta, based in Edmonton, Alberta, a little bit further west in the province of Alberta there. So really from coast to coast across the country, you're going to hear about great study options today. Before we begin, I'll just ask maybe each of our panelists in the order that their photos appear here to come off mute and just say hello, share their name maybe and the institution that they're representing. So Melanie, over to you.
Hi, everyone. Melanie Element from McGill University in Montreal, Canada. Looking forward to sharing more information with you today.
Thanks, Melanie. John?
Good morning, everybody. John Gregory, Director of International Recruitment at the University of Alberta. Really looking forward to meeting you, Leila, today.
Thanks, John. And Adam?
Morning, everybody. My name is Adam Lotesto from the University of Toronto.
Great. So you'll be hearing more from them in just a minute. Before we go any further, though, wanted to make sure that everyone had a clear sort of up-to-date understanding of the Duolingo English test and the value that it can offer you as an applicant, because all three institutions who are presenting today are Duolingo English test accepting institutions. And so it's a great option if you're looking to make an application to any of their programs in the coming year or later to keep in mind. So what do you as a student need to know about the Duolingo English test? What makes it different from other English language proficiency test options on the market? First, the test is very accessible. You may already know, but it can be taken online, on demand, anywhere, 24/7, 365 days of the year. There are no centers test centers involved. And as a result, it means there's no appointments, making the test a very fast testing experience. The test itself is about 1 hour long. That's how long you can expect to be online moving through the assessment. But then your results are also very fast. You're going to get those and be able to instantly share those with the institutions you're applying to within 2 days. So a great way to turn around your applications quickly and make sure that you're staying on track with all of those deadlines and different timelines that you may be juggling in the application process. And then finally, it's very affordable. The test is a fraction of the price of other tests. It's currently $70. And when you go to share your results with different post-secondary institutions around the world, you're able to do that directly from your test taker dashboard at no additional cost. So that upfront original cost is all inclusive and allows you to complete the application cycle with as many institutions as you need. You also, though, need to take a test that's trusted globally and is going to unlock doors at the institutions that you're interested in applying to. And we're very confident that the DET is going to be the perfect test for that. We're accepted by more than 5,800 post-secondary institutions around the world. You'll see there's over 3,400 in the US, more than 450 in Canada, as well as accepting programs around the globe in places like the UK, Australia, Ireland, and many, many other countries that you may be considering. And when we think about Canada specifically, those DET accepting programs, the 450 plus that I just mentioned, really are from coast to coast to coast here across the country. So no matter where you're looking to apply, there's a very good chance that the DET will allow you to move through that application process as needed. I also wanted to draw attention to the fact that there is no specific test required for a Canadian study permit. Previously, from certain countries under the SDS program, that may have been a requirement. That has changed in the last year or so. And so, whichever test meets the requirements of the academic program that you're applying to will also satisfy the requirements for your study permit processing. So with that out of the way, let's shift our direction a little bit and talk about study in Canada. I'm going to keep this pretty high level because as a large, diverse country, there is so much to offer. But I think it's important when you're choosing a study destination to understand not only the campus and the program that you're applying to, but also to have a sense of what you're looking for in your destination country or destination province if you're already at that point in your decision making. So, what should we consider? First of all, Canada is a fantastic option for international students, and it continues to be open for students from around the world. We have hundreds of thousands of international students studying here in the country currently, and we would love to welcome any who are open to that opportunity for 2025 and beyond. As an international student, you can expect rich experiences both inside the classroom, but also outside in the communities that you're choosing to join. The other thing that you can be assured of is a high quality education. Canada's post-secondary system is primarily a public system, and all of the institutions on today's webinar are public institutions. This means that Canada's post-secondary sector needs to maintain very high quality standards in order to continue to receive support from the government and other public sector entities. So you don't have to worry when you're looking at different program options across the country and comparing one university to the other, whether it's a good institution. We have really fantastic, highly ranked, high quality institutions and programs, allowing you to start to dig into those other aspects that will make it the right fit for you. The final thing to consider at a high level, of course, is the return on investment. It is a big investment to be an international student. We recognize this, and we know it's important to you and your families that the program you study will lead to the outcomes like career opportunities or further education that you're seeking. And so that quality education that is recognized globally is a really strong foundation on which to go forward and begin to seek that return. So a Canadian degree is recognized around the world, whether you're planning to stay in Canada to pursue opportunities here, maybe work or post-graduation study opportunities, or whether you're looking to take that credential back to your home country or even explore somewhere new. The Canadian experience is very diverse. No two cities are the same, no two provinces are the same. And so I would really encourage you to do your research when you're thinking about what environment is best going to suit you. In Canada, we have some very large, dense urban communities. We also have some really beautiful, welcoming rural areas. So, two very different student experiences available within the borders of our own country. One thing that you can count on across the board, whether you're choosing an urban or a rural setting, is that Canadian communities are quite diverse. They're very welcoming, they're inclusive, and you'll find opportunities to live, work, and connect with your neighbors no matter where you are. So there's not really a bad choice when you're choosing a new community, but it is important to think about what's most valued by you and what kind of environment lets you do your best work and where you really want to be growing and thriving in the next 4 or so years. So you'll see some of the photos here from downtown and some of our largest cities like Toronto, Montreal, Edmonton, but also more coastal regions. We have lots of outdoor spaces, lots of natural space here. So really something for everyone. And as a country, we continue to be very proud and place a lot of value on being socially inclusive, respectful of human rights, and ensuring there's strong economic opportunities for all. So that's sort of the Canadian experience that you can expect regardless of which province or city or community you ultimately land in. For those of you who may be pulling up a map right now or starting to think about, what kind of environment do I want to be in and where do I find that? This is a quick snapshot of Canada. We are, of course, a very large country by landmass. We are made up of 10 provinces and 3 territories, and you'll see there's ocean on 3 sides of our country. So to get from the East Coast, where I am, to the far West Coast, for example, the city of Vancouver, is about a 5.5 hour flight. So that's just to show you the scale of what we have to offer. There is a huge amount in the middle for you to explore and very different experiences in each of these regions. Canada is known for being a country of innovation, and that really starts at our post-secondary institutions through research and the academic work that students are doing as early as the undergraduate level, and then, of course, into postgraduate studies and research opportunities. But some of the Canadian innovations that you may not be aware of, you'll see listed on your screen here. They range from the telephone and plexiglass to the prosthetic hand, the Canadarm, which you'll find in outer space, and the computerized braille system. So lots of innovation here, lots more to come, of course, and maybe you'll even get to be a part of that. So Canadian credentials, I won't get too into the weeds here, but just wanted to highlight that across Canada, you'll find academic institutions offering all levels of study, from language through to PhD level. So depending on what you're looking for, confident that you'll find an institution to meet your needs. Universities typically offer the widest range of programming, with some of them going all the way from language programming up to PhD studies. And other schools underneath that, for example, colleges, language schools, offering more specialized programming. So depending on what you're looking for, whether that's a 1 or 2 year certificate or a 4 year undergraduate program, degree program, that will help guide your search a little bit. Across the board, though, experiential learning is something that you can likely expect to be a part of your academic experience. Experiential learning is hands-on learning and is a very valued part of education here in Canada. It's offered at almost all Canadian universities, and it's something that you can ask the universities that you're interested in about. What does hands-on or experiential learning look like for them in their classrooms? For many schools, you'll find co-op programs. Co-op are paid work experiences similar to an internship, typically with higher opportunities to earn money. So in some cases, you could be working for about a year, earning upwards of 40,000 Canadian dollars. So a focus on paid work is also central to the Canadian academic system if you're working in a co-op program. And many students, of course, will get their hands right into their program at the undergraduate level through undergraduate research opportunities. Finally, and I'm going to let our panelists speak to this in more detail, but at a high level, when it comes to applying to Canada, usually you work directly with the university, or in some provinces, for example, Ontario, through a centralized application center. Generally speaking, Canadian admission tends to be more grade-based than holistic. So they'll be looking for competitive grades, which will vary from institution to institution and program to program. They will have some prerequisite courses, which are required based on the program you're going to. A language test may be required depending on your background, the previous program you studied, etc. And in some cases, they may be looking for supplementary information, for example, a portfolio, an interview, or an essay. So as you can see, it really does depend on the institution you're applying to, and it's important that you research directly with them to see what's needed. With that, I'm going to pass it over to Melanie at McGill University to share a little bit more about what they can offer students in the beautiful city of Montreal, Quebec. Melanie, over to you.
Great. So everyone, we're jumping into McGill University. On our feature slide, you'll see that we have a very traditional campus. So we're in the heart of the city. We'd be one of those institutions considered urban. And we've been located in this spot since 1821. So for a Canadian institution, that's older than the country itself. So a lot of history there, but a lot of great initiatives that have come from that time as well. We're known as a research institution, so a lot of great modern facilities mixed in with the charm of our feature arts building that you see here right now. We're also in a French-speaking province, so it brings a different level of kind of immersion into a new country for sure when it comes to Canada, but also the province of Quebec provides a little bit of a European feel while being in a North American environment. That said, we are an English institution, so the common language spoken outside of maybe a language course is going to be English. So you're going to be able to navigate and take your courses in English while studying at McGill. And one of those great options that you'll see is that you have two campuses where you can study. So on the next slide, you'll see that there is our downtown campus where the majority of our students study. So we have about 40,000 students total. About 2,000 students are at our secondary campus, Macdonald, which is a little bit more suburban, green, has a working farm. We like to say Macdonald campus students are really saving the world, focused on environment, sustainability, and bringing that together with those same pillars of our downtown students who are just learning in a different environment on our main campus. All of the services that you would have downtown, you'll also have at Macdonald campus as well. Downtown really kind of features a lot of breadth in what you can study. And so when we look at programs in just a few moments, you'll see that there really is a lot of variety. Now, the two campuses are about 40 minutes away. So there is a shuttle bus that takes students between the two. So if you're inspired to study at both or take a course at either campus, you would be able to do that. Next slide. So I alluded to the fact that we're in a French-speaking province. So when it comes to experiential learning, just by location, McGill offers you that chance to maybe add a second or third or fourth or fifth language to your repertoire or use previously existing French language skills. So while it's not a requirement for admission, it is a great way to learn kind of outside of the classroom or inside of the classroom. So we do have French language courses, non-credit courses, credit courses, conversation clubs. So if you're really invested in learning French, there's going to be ways for you to do that. And just a hot tip is that you can save on some of your French language courses, the international tuition component if you are taking a French speaking course. So there's a QR code that you could have grabbed if you're interested in that at all. So when it comes to experiential learning, coming to Canada definitely is an international experience for some of you, but you can also travel the world and maybe you'll be inspired by your peers to study in a country that they originate from. So we have over 150 partner universities in 39 countries around the world. Typically, you would be studying during your second or third year, bringing those credits pre-approved back to your McGill degree. So great to know that your tuition is secured, but you're also able to have that additional international experience. Students who go on exchange usually love their experience. They're able to handle the course load. We trained you well in your first year at McGill to be able to kind of balance your academics, but also time managing and getting to experience things outside of the classroom, having a little bit of fun. Again, it's all about balance when you're at university. Next slide. So research opportunities, we are a research institution, and just as Allison mentioned, you will see this opportunity at many Canadian institutions, but that ability get your hands dirty, get into a lab, work with your professors, work with graduate students, and be able to discover whether or not that next step into academia is going to be something for you is something that research will allow for. Often there's funding available as well. It's a great way to get recognized, be part of citations alongside graduate students and professors. And this is something that you might start as early as your first summer at McGill, but you could also continue it through the school year as well. And when we think about research, you see a science lab kind of ahead of you now, but research happens across all different disciplines. So you could be a music student and there's research opportunities for you. You could be studying at Macdonald campus where some of our largest research grants actually exist, and be in a food lab and creating great recipes. Maybe you're a passionate foodie, but it's actually research as well that you're participating in, and our students compete and present their research around the world. Next slide. And then internships and co-op, that professional experience is definitely something that we provide at McGill. You'll hear more at our institution about internships. So these are non-mandatory, flexible. You kind of decide when and if you're going to take this on. They are well remunerated. You typically would do these during the summer. And then we do have some programs that have integrated co-ops, mainly specific engineering ones, software mining materials, and then of course, professional placements in fields like education, as well as nursing. So next slide. So I've alluded to some of our programs already, but knowing where you're going to study is really important when you're thinking about applying to or considering McGill. So our downtown campus, as I said, is home to the majority of our students, 27,000, and they are studying in many different disciplines, have very different academic interests. So spanning architecture, arts, education, engineering, management, nursing, physical and occupational therapy, science, and social work. And then at Macdonald campus, really narrowing in on environmental sciences, agriculture, nutrition, but also bioresource engineering. So great to know where they're located and which campus might be home to you if you're interested in these programs. One of the great things about Canadian institutions is that you do have flexibility. So if you're interested in more than one domain, you're able to combine them in many different ways. So getting used to the terminology that we're going to throw out to you might be helpful as well. Knowing what a major is, that you can have a smaller discipline like a minor or a concentration or electives that allow you to kind of have that breadth, really important as you're going through your process. Next slide. So our application process is one that is institution specific. So when you apply to McGill, you apply directly to us. And typically that's going to be between October 1st and January 15th. The QR code that you see on the screen right now is going to lead you to our website where you can have a lot of great resources when it comes to the application and requirements. Essentially, we are looking at really two things. We're looking at the programs that you're applying to, and then we're looking to make sure that you're going to be successful in those programs. So things like your prerequisite courses, your grades. We are definitely a grades-based institution. There's not going to be a request for many different supplements. So when it comes to programs, maybe like music, religious studies, and social work, those would be the only ones that have additional documentation to provide. So once you apply, you are really furnishing your grades via transcripts. If proof of English proficiency is required, you're providing that as well. And then we are reviewing your application, and you get 2 program choices with each application that you submit, and you're considered equally for both. Next slide. So along with the application, you can choose to apply for one of our scholarships. So we do have merit-based scholarships. Our majors range from 3,000 to 10,000 Canadian dollars. These are renewable. And typically each year it's around January 21st that you have to submit your application. So these actually do have supplements, so reference letters, a written component. So don't be surprised if you're applying for a major scholarship and you're asked for this. If you don't want to go through the process for a major award, you will always be considered for one of our entrance scholarships, which is a $3,000 award one time only. We also have other funding options. So on the next slide, you'll see more information about our entrance bursaries. This is something that's not part of the application process, but really important to know that international students are equally considered for some of our financial aid opportunities. So this is up to 20,000 Canadian dollars that is dependent on demonstrated financial need. Of course, if you're paying international tuition, that's factored in. So just really important that once you have an offer from us, that you are applying for it. And if you do qualify for an entrance bursary, then you are also guaranteed a work study option. So you can actually supplement the cost of education by working a little bit on campus as well. Next slide. And then just a breakdown of a lot of different numbers that you're seeing here. So I would say the QR code is a great thing to take away from us. But know that there are 3 different tiers of tuition when it comes to McGill. We have our in-province rate. So if you have any affiliation to Quebec, you might qualify for that rate, highly supplemented, great deal. And then Canadian tuition rates for anyone who may also be a Canadian citizen or permanent resident, you'd be able to possibly qualify for that. And then international rates with a range. So international students, it's going to be dependent on what you're studying. So the program that you're admitted to, and that ranges from 31,000 to 71,000. And just really important to know that our international tuition rate is a guaranteed model. So what you're paying in your first year, as long as you remain in your program, you're going to continue to pay that rate. Next slide. And then, of course, there's always more to discover. Hopefully, you will have the chance to visit campus, but I know for many of you that might be far away. So we have both live and virtual campus tours. The QR code on the screen will help you with that. It's a great way to kind of navigate and get used to what campus may have to offer you and get a sense of where McGill University is located, what our buildings look like. But I would say the best thing to do is schedule some time with our student ambassadors who are affiliated with different programs across the university, come from different origins and different countries and different experiences, and collect those narratives to help figure out whether or not McGill could be the right fit for you. So really take that opportunity to talk with a McGill student over your planning time, whether that's the next year, next 2 years, however far out you may be. It's a great way, again, to get a sense. The other thing that I would recommend is on the next slide, you'll see all of our socials. Give us a follow on IG, on YouTube, on WeChat, on Facebook, whatever social media you tend to use. It's a great way as well to get an idea of what McGill looks like at each part of the cycle. So you want to see us in fall, you want to see what a day in the life of a student looks like, what events are happening. This is a great way. It captures that experience. And again, it's all about collecting stories, narratives, and then narrowing things down to see if it's a great fit for you. So that's it for me for now. I think I'm handing over to Toronto, right, Allison?
We're actually going a little further west, Melanie. We're going to head to
Oh,
Alberta
okay.
and then back to U of T. But thank you so much for that overview. I love Montreal. It's a wonderful city. And so you've given all of our attendees today a lot to think about. So, John, we're heading west to the great city of Edmonton to hear what you have to say about the University of Alberta.
Perfect. And good morning, everyone from Edmonton, Alberta. It's just gone 7:30 in the morning here. So I'm over in Mountain Time, about 2 hours time zone difference from Melanie in Quebec. So my name's John. I'm the Director of International Recruitment. Many, many years ago, I was a student studying at the University of London in the UK and had the opportunity to do a study abroad year, an exchange year at the University of Alberta. So when I was a young undergraduate student, I came over to Edmonton, Alberta, Canada, and I met my wife while I was studying at the University of Alberta and have been a big fan of both the opportunities given by international education and the University of Alberta in particular since then. So now a Canadian citizen and have been living in Canada since 2008. So a bit of terminology here. Edmonton is the city, Alberta is the province, and Canada obviously is the country. And the picture you just saw is our North Campus, and that's where the vast majority of our students live. You can walk from your residence, which we will guarantee for your first year. So if you want to live on our campus, you can. You can walk from your residence to the classes, libraries, labs, and sports facilities. Lots goes on campus. We have a week of welcome to welcome you. There's intramural sports where you can play against other University of Alberta students. You can go and watch the Golden Bears and Pandas game, and there's over 400 plus clubs you can join. When I came over as an international student, I joined the ski club and learned to ski. The city of Edmonton is where we're located, and it's a city of over 1 million people now live there. It has one of the lowest costs of living in Canada and is among the youngest big cities. Use of the subway and bus system is included in your fees, and Alberta as a province has the highest average income in Canada. Now, the next few weeks are going to be a very, very exciting time in Edmonton. Our hockey team, the Edmonton Oilers, have qualified for the Stanley Cup final. If you're not familiar with hockey, the Stanley Cup is a big, big, big silver cup, which is considered the highest awards or trophy you can win in hockey. Some people consider it's the hardest cup to win in sports. You need to first qualify for the playoffs, and then you play in 4 elimination rounds of 7 games. Edmonton will be playing the Florida Panthers, and game 1 starts on Wednesday, best of a 7-game city. It's a very exciting time in the city, as mentioned. If you haven't got tickets, there's watch parties you can watch across the city. And if you're not a hockey fan, please do wish us luck. The Edmonton Oilers play in a beautiful downtown arena, which hosts events throughout the year. When the Oilers aren't playing, Edmonton's home to the biggest mall in North America, includes the biggest indoor water park in the world, roller coasters, go-kart tracks. It's a full-scale model of the Santa Maria, and many of our students work part-time in the mall. So moving on to the University of Alberta itself, over 40,000 students study with us, and about 15% of our undergraduate population is international students. So if you study with us, you'll be studying alongside Canadian students, but also other international students from across the world. We're ranked among the top 4 universities in Canada, and the QS places us among the top 100 universities in the world. So your degree will be very well recognized. We also have an excellent graduate employment rate of 97%. Next slide, please. So there's many, many, many different degrees you can study at the U of A. And one of the highlights of Canadian education, maybe compared to a UK education, is the flexibility among the degree programs. So when I was studying in the UK, I had to decide on day 1 what my major would be. I didn't have the opportunity to study a minor. and I couldn't really change my degree program. I had to decide it when applying, and there was no opportunity to really change tracks. With a Canadian degree, they're typically 4 years duration in total. And you would normally study 10 courses per year. This will vary from university to university, but you would often study 40 courses to obtain that degree. You can do a major, and many programs let you do a minor as well. If you're doing a major at the U of A, depending on the faculty, it would typically be about 55% of your courses would be in that one area, that major area. If you elect to do a minor as well, then about 25% of your courses would be in that area. And there's really lots of flexibility to change major and minors during your degree. There's the opportunity to undertake research opportunities, as Melanie mentioned, and we have a co-op program at the University of Alberta where you're able to obtain paid work experience during your degree. This really allows you to test drive various careers. So for example, if you want to go into accountancy and you're majoring in accounting, you can do a number of placements with accounting firms to make sure it is actually a career you want to do. It really boosts up your resume and allows you to make connections for your future career. And many students who do co-op will go and work for that company upon graduation. Next slide, please. So we have wonderful faculty at the University of Alberta. The Albertan economy, the province of Alberta, has a very strong economy, and it was driven by our oil and gas reserves. We have some of the biggest oil and gas reserves in North America. And the government's worked hard on diversifying the economy, including building world-class universities in Edmonton and Calgary. And we've been able to use some of that wealth to attract world-class faculties to the U of A. Dr. Rick Sutton is one of the fathers of reinforcement learning, and he this year won the Turing Awards, which is the highest distinction in computer science, and that was based on his work in reinforcement learning. Another faculty member, Dr. Jonathan Schaefer, solved the game of checkers or shot drafts. So he was a machine-based learning expert and is a machine-based learning expert and solved the game of checkers. Another leading faculty member is Dr. Michael Houghton, who won the Nobel Prize for Medicine in 2020. Next slide, please. So like Montreal, we offer a guaranteed tuition rate. So that means the tuition you pay is guaranteed to remain the same for all 4 years, which allows you and your parents to plan for the cost of your degree and know the exact cost. So these is the cost in Canadian dollars, and the cost will vary from faculty to faculty. Faculty Saint-Jean is our French language campus. So if you're fluent in French, that's a very, very cost competitive option. Next slide, please. I know you're probably looking at many destinations across the world, and the previous slide just showed the US dollar rates, just to say Canada offers excellent value for money, particularly when you look at the tuition rate in US dollars. Next slide. So the 3 scholarships listed here are awarded based on your grades at the time of admission, so you don't need to do anything else to qualify them, apart from having 4 excellent grades, and you'll be evaluated for them at the time of admission. Next slide, please. We also have a number of application-based awards. So what these require is an additional application. You apply for admission, and then you can apply for these additional awards. Our most prestigious award is the President's International Distinction Scholarship. That's worth $120,000 over 4 years, so you would receive funding of $30,000 per year. We offer 25 of these per year. So what we're looking for this award to be one of the 25 students, you have to have excellent academic grades, but also strong extracurricular activities. So what have you done outside the classroom? How have you helped contribute to your school, to your community? The deadline to apply for these awards is the 10th of January. So you have lots of time, but many students apply for these awards each year, and we give out 25 per year. Final slides. So thank you so much for attending the webinar today and listening to myself. As mentioned, the U of A is one of the top universities in Canada. And it's a thank you for attending the webinar when applications open on the 1st of October. I'm delighted to offer everyone attending today who's interested in applying to the U of A for undergraduate study an application fee waiver. So if you're interested, please reach out to me and I will set you up with an application fee waiver. And I will hand over to my colleague, Adam.
Thanks so much, John. I'm just going to leave this slide up for a couple more seconds so folks can grab your email and take you up on that generous fee waiver offer. Adam, in the meantime, we'll welcome you to the screen. I think you, like all of us in Canada, are cheering on the Oilers in that Stanley Cup pursuit.
Most definitely, because we're tired of the Maple Leafs losing. And if you do come to Canada to study, hockey will be part of your culture. So it's good to know the Oilers are good in Edmonton, the Maple Leafs are bad. All right, so enough about hockey. Let's talk about the University of Toronto. You have a QR code there. If you are interested in learning more about programs, information, please scan that. It will also connect you directly to my email. So by scanning that, you can tell us what you're interested in studying, learn more, but also if you have follow-up questions, that you will receive a message from me later on today or tomorrow. So, University of Toronto, we are the top ranked university in Canada, also top 25 in the world. So we have an excellent reputation as being one of the world's premier research universities. A lot of great discoveries have happened out at our school. The world's first nerve transplant, stem cell research began at U of T, and insulin was discovered over 100 years ago. We've had Academy Award winners, Olympic athletes, Nobel laureates. Most recently, Geoffrey Hinton won the Nobel Prize for physics, so he's known as the godfather of AI. He was a professor here at U of T. And we continue to be leaders and innovators in many fields today. And as you'll see on the slide, we are also the most sustainable, #1 in the world for universities. So top ranked university, but also in a very great city to live in. So Toronto is known for its safety, for its cleanliness, and its diversity. So over 50% of people that have been born in Toronto speak another language. So we really value that diversity, and it's very, our campuses reflect the diversity of the city. But big city means there's lots of fun things to look forward to, great restaurants, shopping, sporting events, concerts. All the major artists will come through Toronto, so you can look forward to some great fun things to do when you're not on campus, and it's very accessible. So it's easy to get around the city. We have the fourth largest, one of the largest, I believe it's the fourth largest metro system in North America. So again, easy to get around even in the winter because it's Canada. So yes, that's part of your experience. You get to come to a different country, different culture, but also different climate. And this is what's going to make your 4 years studying with us that much more memorable and unique, but just overall a great city with lots to offer for everyone. So I mentioned that we're the top ranked university in Canada. We are also the largest in the country. And that is because we have 3 campuses. So this is important to take note of because the main message is that the quality of the education is the same at all 3 campuses. So you get to choose based on what you want to study and what environment you think you'd be most comfortable studying in. But again, it's the same U of T degree. So 1 university, 3 distinct campuses, you get to choose. So St. George is our downtown Toronto campus. It's the largest, right in the heart of the city with over 35,000 undergraduate students. So St. George has a mix of old Gothic architecture from the 1800s, as well as new modern state-of-the-art facilities. So old and new, right in the city center. Versus Mississauga, which is about a half-an-hour drive outside of the city to the west, mid-sized campus with about 15,000 students, located on 225 acres of beautiful green park space. So lots of trees, grass, a very modern building, or a very modern campus rather. And that's similar to Scarborough, which is a half an hour east of downtown Toronto. Mid-sized campus, very modern, our largest campus by landmass and our fastest growing with many new buildings under construction as we speak. So also mid-size, 15,000, very modern. So in terms of what you can study, and I apologize for the slide being cut off. That's my fault. You're going to be able to study arts, business, science at all three campuses. But you'll notice that St. George, in addition to arts, business, science, has additional faculties such as engineering, music, etc. So as I mentioned a moment ago, you're going to choose the campus you want to study at. You're not placed. That is one of the benefits, and you can apply to multiple campuses if you like as well. And you'll be considered concurrently for those choices. In terms of programs, we offer arts, business, science, as I mentioned, so I'm not going to get into all of them. The main message here is that we have over 700 program options to choose from. That is the best selection in the country, and the nice thing is you can mix and match your areas of study. So if you want to do a double major in arts and science, you can do that. Be an engineer and minor in music. There are literally hundreds of combinations, and in most cases, you don't have to declare officially until after your first year. So this gives you time. This gives you time to figure things out and then decide. You're not locked into anything. So take that first year to confirm what you selected or potentially switch if you like. It is flexible. So arts, business, science available at all three, but these additional professional faculties are only available at St. George. So the largest and highest ranked faculty of engineering in the country with 8 core options you can choose directly from high school or an undeclared first year option as well. So that's on St. George professional faculty, as are these next three. Architecture, visual studies, kinesiology, and music. Those are just available on the downtown St. George campus. And as you've heard from my colleagues, experiential learning is really important. So you'll have the option to do a co-op or internship. You can do research for credit as early as your second year while being supervised by a professor. So essentially graduate level work that you can do as early as year 2 while being supervised by a professor. And just to make a quick mention of our co-op, our engineering co-op, for example, this is 12 to 16 months, so you get a full year, a minimum 1 year of work experience. You're not paying tuition, you're earning money, and the average salary for our engineering students is over 55,000 Canadian dollars. And more than half of the students that do our co-op program there have job offers before they even graduate. In terms of applying, very easy. We are on the Common Application for Ontario. So not the Common Application in the US, but rather the OUAC, Ontario University Application Center. It's a 2-step process. So the first step is to complete the biographical application, which should take you about 15 to 20 minutes. Once you're on the application, it's going to look similar to this. You're going to see these admission categories that you will be able to choose from. So you are going to indicate one of these highlighted areas that you're going to see here. And you can choose up to 3. And I recommend that you apply to multiple campuses because it obviously increases your chance of admission, but also can increase your chance for scholarship. So yes, so I would recommend applying to 3 or just 1, whatever you choose. You will be considered concurrently. Once you've made those choices, you submit the payment, and now you've successfully applied to the university. So now you're just waiting for us to acknowledge your application with a link to your portal. Once you have access to that portal, you're going to see exactly the documents that we require from you. And when you submit them, you're going to see the date that it was received. So it's very easy for you to stay on top of your application. But remember, it's 2 steps. First step, biographical application. Second step is waiting for us to email you, and then you're going to access your portal and send us the appropriate documents. So much like my colleagues, most of our programs, the vast majority, only focus on your academics. So there's nothing extra that you need to submit. However, these programs that you see here will require additional information in the form of a supplemental application. Typically, we want to know more about you, your extracurriculars, your leadership, and you'll be able to tell us by answering some short essay questions. And in the case of commerce, Rotman Commerce and Engineering, you will also send us some video responses as well. So we'll provide you with these details when you need to submit after you've initially applied, and you will access this on your portal. So English facility is required. These are the minimum requirements, but of course, we strongly recommend Duolingo. As we discussed earlier, it's the cheapest, it's the fastest, and you can do it from the comfort of your home. So as long as you have an English test like Duolingo, you will have satisfied the English language requirement. So this is just a timeline of your grade 12 or senior year. We recommend you initiate or start that OUAC application by November 7th. By doing that, you will be considered for our earliest rounds of admission offers. So please apply by November 7th. Wait for your access to your Join portal. And once you do, you'll be able to start sending us your transcripts and any other required documents, such as your Duolingo English test. You will be able to confirm your residence guarantee. We guarantee housing for all first-year students as long as you say yes on your application. We are going to hold a spot for you. And decisions are made on a rolling basis, more or less. So beginning in February, March, April, that's when most of the offers are released. But applying early by November 7th will allow you to hear back, hopefully, in one of those early rounds of offers. Scholarships are automatic, so there's no additional information you need to provide us. When you do apply, you will be considered for all merit-based awards. So these range in value. Obviously, the better your grades, the more you can anticipate to receive. So I would say that on average, some of our higher awards equal about $100,000, so $25,000 per year. We have larger, we have smaller, but the good news is you're automatically considered. Our largest scholarship is the one that you see at the bottom, the Pearson. That's a full ride scholarship for international students. You cannot apply for this directly. You have to be nominated by your school, and only one student per school can be nominated each year for the Pearson. If you're the nominee, you will receive a link to the application itself. But if you're not the nominee or you don't win the Pearson, rest assured you will be considered for all of these other merit-based awards automatically. Some final tips just for U of T is to remember, apply early by November 7th. That's just starting your application, not completing it. Check your portal. If we're missing any information, you will see what we're missing there. It's very common for your portal to say incomplete for the first couple of months because we're waiting for your mid-year transcripts. Once we get those, you're going to see your portal message change. And finally, continue to work hard all year long because our offers of admission are conditional. So that's a wrap for me. At U of T, you can earn a top-ranked university education that is 100% portable, all while doing it in a city that is safe, clean, multicultural, diverse, and has a lot to offer you both inside and outside of the classroom. Please scan the QR code if you haven't yet, and thank you so much for your attention, and I'll pass it back to Allison.
Thank you so much to all of our panelists for taking us on that journey across Canada and through Canadian higher education. I almost found myself taking notes, so I'm sure that all of the students tuning in, as well as their supporters, maybe parents or guidance counselors who are also tuning in, no doubt captured key dates and things as well. We're mindful of time here, and Adam, you mentioned a 120 is needed on the DET as a minimum score for the University of Toronto, I believe. I just wanted to go over maybe to Melanie to see what the DET requirements would be for McGill, and then John for U of A.
Great. Yes. So for the DET, for the majority of our programs, we're looking for a 125, but we do have some program specific requirements. So the Bachelor of Education, as well as our Bachelor of Commerce degree, so management, we're looking for a 130.
Thanks, Melanie. Like we've heard so many times today, it depends, it varies by program. Be sure to check in with each institution, each program, talk to the great advisors and their teams who you've met today as well. So thanks for that info for McGill. And John, U of A, what are you looking for in terms of English language proficiency?
Yeah, from the DET, we're looking for a score of 120 with no integrated subscore below 100.
Okay, wonderful. Thanks so much. Another great note for our participants to jot down today. I'd like to thank all of our panelists for taking the time. It was a very early morning for some, as you heard, especially John on the West Coast. But everyone, of course, is very busy. So thanks to our university participants today, and a huge thanks to all of you who are tuning in afternoon, evening, around the many other commitments that you and your family have. So we had a great group watching today. I'm going to advance the slide in case you'd like to capture the details of those two other upcoming webinars. But a final thank you. We are thrilled that you're thinking about studying in Canada. We hope that you all have a wonderful few months ahead before our application season opens here, as you heard, sort of in the early Canadian fall season. And I know that our partners at McGill, University of Toronto, and University of Alberta would be absolutely thrilled to see some applications from all of you. So work to get those documents in order and get ready to get those applications in. We look forward to perhaps seeing you in communities across Canada in the coming year.